Welcome to the Local Roots Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Childs. Today's a special day. This is the very first interview to kick off the show. And I couldn't think of a better person to help us get things started than Bill Honak, co-owner of Coaches Cigar Lounge right here in Tomball, Texas. Bill, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
Before we dive in, I do want to take a second to thank Bill and his partner, Blue, for allowing us to host these episodes here at the lounge. It truly is the perfect environment for meaningful conversations. For listeners at home, basically our environment that we're sitting in, picture a dimly lit cigar lounge, dark leather chairs that you just sink into. The main lobby has a ton of chairs and seating available where you can watch the game or catch the fight. They even have a private workroom if you need to take an important call. And then there's where we are right now. We're in the members-only private area where there's private lockers stocked with your own personal whiskey that you can stock when you come out. So if you're not currently a member yet, you should be. Now, I'm sitting here with one of my favorites from the Coaches selection, the Barrier 1492 Black. They have a black and a red. Bill, for anyone who hasn't tried one of these, what can you tell us about the cigar?
These cigars are actually out of Fredericksburg. And what I know is there's a third process in cigar making that I've learned. And this is something they pride themselves on. And they take all the ammonia out of the tobacco leaf. So they call it like a chemical-free cigar. And I just find it to be very smooth, very flavorful, and just a cigar I personally really like.
Yeah. When I first came in, you had turned me on to the Barrier. You told me about the ammonia-free process. And it really does make a difference. It's a lot smoother. It's not a punch in the mouth like some cigars. It's a nice ride.
For sure.
Now, for those of you who are new to the cigar world, there's a concept called the rule of thirds. Any quality cigar is going to take you through three distinct stages. There's a light stage at the very beginning, moves into a medium, where you have medium flavors, and then it typically finishes with a bold, strong flavor at the end. These interviews are going to follow the same structure. So we'll begin with origin stories, who the business owner is, where they came from, how did it all start. Then we'll move into the medium stage. So behind the scenes, what does it take to actually run a business? And then the bold at the end is, wisdom, advice that one could pass down to either the next generation of business owners or, things that they've taken away through their experiences. So sit back, settle in, and enjoy the conversation, because like a well-crafted cigar, these stories unfold with time. So Bill, take us back. How did two coaches end up opening a cigar lounge on Main Street in Tomball?
That's a great question. Russell and I started coaching together about 6 years ago, and over at Concordia Lutheran. I was a varsity boys head basketball coach, and I had been there 17 years when I finally stopped, 29 total. And Russell and I knew each other for a few years before that, and he just became a good friend of mine. And we smoked cigars together. It's kind of like a pastime hobby of ours. We started just venturing out and talking about how fun it'd be to do one day. And we would visit every cigar lounge that we kind of knew about or would drive by and kind of got an idea of what we liked, what we didn't. And last year was my last year at Concordia, and we got to 700 wins. I kind of nudged him at that point and said, all right, man, we've been talking about it. This door's shut. Let's open the next one. And here we are.
So Concordia is right across the street.
Yeah.
You didn't make it very far.
Didn't make it very far. I had no idea I was going to be so close, but this building came open, and it's a standalone 2,700 square feet building that, so we don't have neighbors, don't have to worry about the smoke bothering anybody, and a lot of space for us, and it just worked out great. Nolan Butterfrast owns the building, and he's been awesome too. One of our first members, so I really like what has developed over here.
Love it. So tell us about, how did you guys find this location in the first place? It's super convenient right here on Main Street. You really can't beat it. How did you guys, were you looking at other buildings for a while and just kind of trying to figure out location and drive time? What was that process?
Yeah, we've been searching for a couple of years, kind of seeing what we want and kind of what makes sense in Tomball area. And we had actually found a place right off of Main Street in the middle of the heart of Tomball, and we're putting an offer on it that day to outright own. And It was only 1,300 square feet though, and it had a neighbor to it. But it was a great location as far as walking and stuff. So we were ready to do it. And the day we were pulling trigger, the city contacts us letting us know that Nolan had bought this property. And he said, use your imagination a little bit. We walked through it, and yes, it had to be totally gutted and redone on the inside, but the space was so great, and Nolan made us an offer we couldn't refuse. And that's all of a sudden, boom. It was almost like God's timing, if you ask me.
Wow. And are you a man of faith?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, I've been teaching private Christian school. No, I graduated Concordia back in 1988, and so it's kind of just been who I am ever since I can remember. And went to faith-based Bible college too, and played college basketball. And it's just who I am. It's what I do. It's my wife is now the assistant principal at Concordia as well, so she's over there getting after it. And it's just been who we are. My dad was the first athletic director at Concordia. My mom was the first choir teacher. So it's kind of what I've always known. So it's kind of weird that I am not at Concordia anymore, honestly. But it's kind of even when I can look out the window and see it. She can see me from the stairwell. So
keeping an eye on you.
Yeah, knows where I'm at.
The truck's there. All right, I'm good.
Yep.
That's awesome. I noticed they expanded the gym as soon as you left.
No, as soon as I got my tires out, turned right, the gym I've been hearing about for about 15 years is going up, which is awesome. I'm very glad that they need it. It's been needed, and here it goes. So Concordia's doing well.
Love it. So one thing I've visited other cigar lounges around town, and I frequent Blend Bar in the Woodlands, but there really wasn't anything local here in Tomball. When me and Amber checked this place out for the first time, we immediately fell in love just with the design, the ambiance. It's really done well. So who designed this? Did you and Blue design this, or did you bring somebody in professionally?
I have a buddy,
very well done.
A very good buddy of mine that we've been playing cards with and golf with for the last 15, 16 years. And this is something he did in his corporate world. So when he heard we were doing this, he offered to help us, and the three of us put it together, and we leaned on him heavily on a lot of stuff you see around here, like the wood paneling, the drop-in ceilings. A lot of that was Danny Mintari who did that. He did a great job and kind of ran point on everything. And it was a lot of fun watching it take shape and go through the process. And honestly, on the back end of it, there's very little I would even think that, I wish we'd done something different, because he did such a good job.
Yeah, he did. Tell us, Blue's not here to speak for himself, but what can you tell us about Blue? And I think he's a financial advisor by day.
He is. He's in Beaumont right now playing golf, getting with a client. So I'm a little jealous of him today. But he has been a great friend, true friend, somebody you trust, somebody you definitely wouldn't mind doing business with. And his nickname for me early on was Cool Breeze, because he liked how kind of my demeanor was calm and didn't let a lot of things bother me. And what's funny is he's identical. So when you come here, you're going to find a very relaxed, not looking over your shoulder or not. It's just a relaxed place to sit down, enjoy, meet by yourself or meet with friends, whatever you want to do. Have a cigar, watch some sports, have a drink, whatever. We don't sell any alcohol here, but you're more than welcome to bring it in. And that's what the lockers are for, is people store that in there as well. Plus, when we close at 7 o'clock, we're open from 11 to 7 pretty much every day except Sunday. At 7 o'clock, we kind of shut down the humidor, so a lot of guys will put their cigars in their lockers as well, so they have them stocked up, ready to go. But, there's a lot of life in here after 7 o'clock, so watching a game or just sitting down and chilling. Yeah.
Amber and I met Blue. So his first name is Russell, right?
Russell.
But everybody calls him Blue. What's behind that?
That's his last name.
Oh, okay. That's pretty simple. Yep. Okay. So Amber and I met Blue over at the German Fest.
Yeah.
The last German Fest they had here in downtown Tomball. And we saw the tent. Obviously, perked my ears went up. And so we walked over and shook his hand. He's a super nice guy, very approachable. And he had told us, hey, we just opened up down the street. Go check us out. So sure enough, we came in. But that's how we found out about you guys originally. And it's just been a great experience ever since. When you come in to relax, what is your to-go-to cigar?
Well, honestly, I grab that Barrier, but they sell so well, I don't like grabbing them too much. And then the Don Valdez, also, you'll see that he's a local out of the Woodlands, and he's from Esteli Nicaragua as well. Esteli, I think that's the way you say it. He uses his grandfather's blend. It's a very high quality cigar as well. That's actually what I'm smoking right now.
What's
And
that called?
Don Valdi,
Okay.
very high quality cigar. The same place you're going to find where Plasencia, my father's, all the same type of tobacco. So, and he knows what he's doing. He's an awesome guy. He did our cigar rolling night for us, and he's somebody you can get on that. And I will definitely recommend anytime having him at one of your functions to do that. And they're from Esteli, Nicaragua, and his family's. And he lives in Woodlands now, and we heard about him. Some people at my church had told me about him, and we had him in. And cigars are amazing, very good. And he has a Habano and a Maduro, both, and he's working on another blend as well as a sweet blend. I hear, which I'm not a sweet cigar guy, but it's amazing how many people we have coming here asking for sweet cigars. So definitely need to have them on the shelf. I've learned quickly that I just can't be picky about what I like and don't like. It's got every little bit of everything for everybody.
Right.
But yeah, Don Valdi's a great guy, and he's very knowledgeable, and he's got the little hat on and everything. He gets in there. It's the perfect little setup when he was here that night. So we're gonna have him here shortly.
Nice.
In a few weeks or so as well to have cigar rolling night.
That's great to know. There's a local guy that's supplying these cigars.
And the same thing with the Barriers. They're out of Texas as well, and we have a couple others. Michaela out of Weatherford, Texas. And we really do like trying to
keep it
support
local.
that as much as possible because everybody knows the big names, right?
Sure.
But
Rocky Patel.
Yeah, and my father's
JC Newman.
a lot of good stuff. I'm not
sure
they're great cigars, but when we get a chance, somebody local, we're going to try our best, especially if they're quality. And so far, they've been very good quality.
I did not know Barriers were from Texas.
Yep.
Who
Out of
makes
Fredericksburg.
Oh, nice.
It's the company, like I said, it's a Cuban style seed that they use and everything like that.
Right.
Yeah, I think I talked about it. And you're talking about the thirds. They're talking about it being the one you have being a peppery all the way down to dark chocolate and kind of how at the end it kind of comes at you a little more, just like you're talking about. And but the smoothness of those cigars, they have the black and they have the red, and the red's being a little lighter. This is a little more bold, but again, I wouldn't really call it bold. I'd call it very smooth, relaxing. It's a good cigar. I've had cigars where you take and oh, that's peppery. You got a lot of spice involved, and not that that's a bad thing, but and you've also had cigars too when you smoke them, you can just tell they come a little hot. They come a little they're just not as enjoyable all the way through as some others, but these cigars tend to be.
Yeah.
So I like them.
Love it. Yeah, your selection you have a really nice humidor, so it's a walk-in humidor. I mean, you've got everything from. Do you have Monte Cristos?
Only a few here and there. We don't have them right now.
Right.
We use a vendor that we use, and so a lot of those big companies want you to, commit to their entire line, and we don't have the space for that. So we can kind of get onesie twosies a lot of those type of cigars. But we do a pretty good job of getting a little bit of everything in there as much as we can, and we're still venturing out. And if someone comes in and they want something, we can definitely most likely find it and get it in.
Okay.
I just had a customer just now order 2 boxes, and he likes the 60s, and we can definitely get that in about 2-3 days almost every time. So if just because we don't have it today don't mean we can't get it tomorrow if you let us know.
Love it. I love this is new information to me. I had no idea y'all try to keep it local with local vendors. That's awesome. And that's the whole reason we're doing this podcast. I think there's a stat out there that says 68 cents of every dollar spent in local businesses stays within the community.
Cool.
And that's huge. So the fact that you guys are kind of doing that full circle as well is just another reason to come out and support Coaches Cigar Lounge.
And it's crazy, but those cigars have probably been our best sellers too.
Really?
Yeah, really, as a numbers game for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're about a third in. Let's transition to the second phase of kind of the details of running the business. Let's give the general public a peek behind the curtain as far as what it takes to run a cigar lounge. One of my first questions is, being a coach for so many years, are there transferable skill sets that directly benefit you as a business owner now, going through adversity and, all those different things you're teaching youth for all those years. Is that a lot of that transferable as a business owner, or are you learning new things that you've kind of never had to deal with before?
Well, even 29 years into coaching, you still learn new things, right? It's otherwise you're kind of left behind. But I am a big picture thinker. Even when I coached, I knew kind of the big picture and all the little things we got to do to get to that point, and I felt like we did a pretty good job of that. This is no different. Obviously, this is a new world for me, but I will tell you that from where I first saw us to where we are today, I feel like we're on track. Obviously, our model is a setup for the membership side, kind of takes care of our monthly bills, and then cigars would be kind of what we make a month. And we're not trying to get rich. If you come into our cigars prices, you're going to notice that on the average, we're going to be on the lower end. And that's because I was a poor teacher my whole life trying to smoke cigars and afford it. And I kind of have that feel for it. And we're not trying to gouge anybody. We want you to come in and say, oh, I got this $2 or $3, $4 cheaper here. We like that mentality. We want, as long as we can survive, that's what we'll try to do. It means something to us. So, and we're not, neither one of us are trying to get rich off this scenario. It's just a way to kind of go off in the sunset and do something fun. And it seems to be working. Our memberships, we got 65 lockers. We got about 34 of them sold right now. So we're about halfway there. And we need to obviously get more of those, because right now I'd say our cigars are kind of, with the membership, are kind of doing half and half of what we need. So it's not like we're really making a ton of money monthly, but we're able to pay our bills, and that's important, at least, first year in, right?
Sure.
And so it's in the right direction, but we definitely need the rest of the lockers. And there's also a membership where there's no locker involved too, and get more of those going just to kind of secure our monthly cost and kind of get us a little better base.
Sure.
It's not like you can really take a paycheck at this point from your company. Right. And I've not been teaching now since, last year. So it's one of those things where I look around going, I could maybe use a little money here and there occasionally. Yeah. So, but it's been fun. Blues has got his own world, so he's not as, he's pretty well off and does his thing, and he's doing a good job. He's in the middle of building a house right now too. So I got to give him credit. He's very smart. And I've also given him a little bit of my money. He's turned that into money in a hurry too. So I'm like, he knows what he's doing. I can tell you that. So it's been a lot of fun, but it's I've jumped into a world that, is new to me, but also I think that creates growth, right? And, obviously Blue being a financial planner too, I've leaned on him a lot when it comes to the finance part of it. We've had some good people around us, and so far so good on that front. I think there's room for growth here, and that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those things, if this was to go well, we could duplicate it down the road too. We're not saying no to that, wherever. But for now, we're just going to hang loose here in Tomball and do our thing and have fun.
So circle back to the memberships. You've got your average Joe that walks in, can buy a cigar and then smoke it, leave, or take that home. Mm-hmm. You've got what's the next level up? You've got your non-locker membership. Tell us more about that.
No locker, $75. And what we do is we have a code on one of our back doors here to the members lounge, and you just put your code in, and you have access before we open or after we close, and really up to like 1 o'clock in the morning. So it's kind of like your own place. And what I find is our members have been very, this is like their home, and it's a very trustworthy, close-knit family, really. And they come from different walks of life, but it's amazing once they get in here how they kind of mesh, and we got enough space for 2 different spaces they can get to and kind of still have their own quiet time or their small group or whatever. We have Bible studies that meet here a couple times a week as well. But the $75 gets you in the door monthly, and then $115 gets you into a locker monthly. And
this back room is that exclusive to the $115 a month?
No.
VIP membership? Okay, nope. So if you're a member on any level, you got access to this back room.
And we have a nice little kitchen area there that's kind of I call it a free grab station. So if you see it there, you can have it. We have ice maker, glasses. There's a lot of people put their last pours of their whiskey up on top shelf, and for anybody to have, we have some Cokes and ice drink, ice water, and So whatever. And if it's in the fridge, though, I say that because you put it in there, it may not be there tomorrow. You know, it's kind of for anybody to have.
First come, first serve.
Yeah, first come, first serve. And we also have another fridge back in the poker room, which is also used for utilizing for that as well. There's a lot of munchies we try to keep going up there. A lot of guys will sometimes give us a 20 or 30 just to kind of like help secure that and keep that going.
Right.
To make sure we got a good little grab section.
Yeah.
You know, for munchies. But it's worked very well so far. And I will tell you, you know, I come in and I can tell when there's been a lot of guys here and they've always done a great job of cleaning up after themselves. They kind of, you know, try to do their dishes a little bit here and there. And it's just been nice to know that people care about the place. And we have a lot of good members like that. We have a lot of guys that come in during the day and just sit and do work too. They'll sit there for 3-4 hours and just get on the computer and sit at a high table and have a cigar and get work done. And that's kind of what we'd always imagined this place being.
Who's your average customer? What's their occupation? Who's the average, you know, guy or gal walking in?
That has been all over the board. A lot of firefighters,
really,
you know, like amazingly, and we have a lot of real estate, and then you have a lot of just business owners that, you know, they have time on their hands and they're doing something. They like to just work from the computer. This is a place for them to do that. But what's wonderful here lately too, we've been getting a lot more of those new faces walking in, and they'll come in and they're hearing about us. Our signage is not what we want it to be yet on the outside, and it's going to help us a lot when we get that up there, but we're getting close to that. But it's fun when I see new people walk in and they, you know, grab 4 or 5 cigars, and this, because cigar smokers tend to be very loyal kind of customers. You know, once they find a place they like and trust, and I can tell that's growing every day.
That's called sticky revenue.
I like it.
That's good. So a lot of repeat customers, recurring revenue coming in. From a business standpoint, are you all spending? Do you have a marketing, advertising budget? Are you all pumping out social media? I saw you had a barbecue event recently. Is it more word of mouth that you're leaning on? What's the
Facebook's been our main advertiser right now. We discussed having an advertiser come in and do the marketing, all that. We just weren't quite ready for that yet. You know, monthly cost, trying to keep that down. You know, when it comes to like cleaning and all that, and we're just trying to be smart. We're not trying to get ourselves upside down. Even though I look at Blue and he looks at me, I'm like, "You clean toilets today?" But I've gotten pretty good at it, unfortunately, pretty here. So, but it's a necessary evil, and it's like Buc-ee's. You want a clean toilet, you know?
Right.
So it's very important to me. So toilets are going to be clean here, I promise you. Even if I'm doing them, Blue's not going to do them very much. I've decided.
Love it. So when you started the business, was this an SBA loan that you guys took out? It's 90% of startup businesses are usually SBA loan funds.
No, I have a family member that does very well, and he was able to do that for us. And you know, of course,
a partnership almost.
Yeah, he's gonna make money back on it, and we're paying him back. But it was definitely, the build out was quite big, and he took care of us on that. So it was wonderful, and so that's what that was. Call it what you want on the loan, but it's a loan we're paying back, and he's making some money on the back end too. But he was definitely very helpful in this process.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you got a lot of red tape, a lot of things you got to get approved, and if you're going through like a traditional SBA, you know, 504 loan or 7A,
made it much easier for sure.
100%. That's great. So what are some unexpected lessons or experiences that you and Blue have kind of, you know, stumbled upon that you really weren't expecting running this business? Any curveballs yet?
Just, you know, going, and the city's been awesome, but all the little regulations and rules and things like that, and you know, just even like signage, just little stuff you got to get going. Just trying to make sure you're on code for everything, and you know, we've always wanted. Tomball's done a great job helping us do that, and but that was obviously a learning curve for us. The other thing would be, you know, like him and I, it's just the two of us, and we'd like to get to the point where maybe we could have hourly workers here, but it's just not there yet. And that would be, you know, there are days and times where we're looking at each other like, I've got something to do, you've got something to do, what are we going to do? Yeah. So that's been kind of a curveball at times, but we've actually got some members here that love to sit here and give us a couple hours at times. And, you know, obviously we make it worth their while. But it's nice to have people like that in our fold that we trust as well. And we've had multiple guys say, "Hey, if you need me a couple hours, I'll see her," because I like to play a little golf here and there, and Blue does too. And it's hard if we both have something scheduled on the same day.
Right. Is that why you brought the putting green in?
Putting greens in here for me to practice. I've been talking the idea of putting a little hitting bay in here someplace too, just getting a little, just nothing special, but just enough to get some swings in and practice, and maybe get a little, video behind it and fun. Mm-hmm. But that would be something I'm toying with the idea as well.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, no, that's certificate of occupancy and fire marshal and just getting open is probably one of the hardest parts
for sure
of getting a business open in the first place.
But I will tell you, Tomball's been amazing to work with. I have no complaints.
Now, inflation is a big topic today. Costs of goods are going up for most businesses. Has that affected the cost of cigars? Has that affected vendors and pricing from a cigar lounge aspect?
What I know is, I do know, like, say, for instance, Don Baldi, who gets his stuff out of Nicaragua, right? I do know, like, with the tariffs and things of that nature, it has affected him a little bit. I believe the cost has come to us just a hair, but nothing crazy. He's done a good job not doing it.
He's not really passing that down.
Yeah, he has it very little if he has. I know he struggles with it sometimes, but those things worry me at times, right?
Right.
Because most of our stuff does come from overseas at some level, right?
Exactly.
So, but I've not seen it. I've not felt it yet. I don't know what we're going to, but it's a worry I think about for sure.
Yeah.
But so far so good on that front. And even our monthly costs of what we're paying here, nothing's been crazy.
Right.
Obviously I drive 3 miles to work, so the gas prices haven't hurt me too much. So, but it doesn't mean it's not hurting somebody else. But we've been pretty lucky on that front.
Right. What about young entrepreneurs, business owners that are stepping into the market in the next 5 to 10 years? You've got a lot of coaching experience. What are some nuggets you could pass down to the next generation of entrepreneurs out there when it comes to running a successful business? And
I would tell you, I was talking with Russell Blue, my partner Blue, yesterday about this, and we both came to a conclusion that you just got to do it. Just jump in and go. And yes, you're going to learn. It's kind of like starting a family. I got to wait till I have enough money. Well, really?
Right.
You just got to jump in and go. And I'm not saying you can't have a plan of attack and kind of set yourself up for success, but you got to be willing to try in life. And the idea of failing is okay. Learn from it, but don't let it stop you. And this could still possibly fail. Yeah, I don't know. The future holds, but
sure.
It doesn't stop me from going forward. And I'm not scared of that scenario. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think that's a very important, even when it came to my coaching world and whatever, and teaching my kids life and having those boys in my world for how many months we had them and for 4 years, whatever. Our failures were our growth at times, right? And how many times you hear about guys that have, lost everything, how many times, and all of a sudden now they're like, boom. And I think that just comes down to our American human nature, just get out there and try and go. And it's built there, it's set up for you to have success in our world. And a lot of guys kind of sit on the sidelines because they're a little nervous, a little scared, whatever. And I just think of how much untapped potential is out there because of that. And not that trust me, if I can do it, anybody can do it. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm only going off what I know, and I'm learning daily on everything. But it's been a fun thing to learn, and it's pushing me. It's also, I call this my little mini retirement time. And I love the fact that here I am at 57 years old, and I'm learning so much every year. I'm not just stuck in my same route, whatever you want to call it, and just kind of doing a cycle of over and over again. So I find this to be a lot of fun. And yes, this is a little pastime hobby and kind of a idea we had, but I don't know. And I'm not saying I'm done coaching forever either. Who knows? I might get back into teaching and coaching one day. I'm still young enough. I know I definitely have enough fire left in my belly for it, but it's just where God's timing is right now in my life, right here, right now. And if I've always been if he shuts that door, let's open the next one. He's going to open the next one for me.
That's right.
So here I am right now. So, and I believe this is where I'm supposed to be today. And if I'm showed otherwise, then I'll go wherever that door opens. But my point being is that if I have a word of advice, it's just simply don't let your fears stop you.
Right.
That's my thing. So whatever that might be.
I had a mentor in the commercial real estate industry who told me this one time. He said, change your mindset to fail forward. You're going to fail. You're going to stumble. You're going to fall. You're going to get hurt. But the only way that you can really fail is just by stopping and quitting. But if you're going to fail, lean forward, right? And so you're able to catch yourself with your hands instead of falling on your rear. And, as long as you're failing forward, you're still a couple inches further than you were.
Absolutely.
Just before that moment,
and
right?
You're talking about basketball in my coaching world. Obviously, when I preach my kids about making mistakes, I'm like, if you make a mistake, giving everything you got going forward, we can live with those. It's when you make mistakes because you're getting hesitant and getting nervous and
you shrink.
Those are the ones that we're not going to live with, right? Or if you make a mistake and you have that, you kind of quit and you don't hustle back. Those are mistakes we're not going to live with. So it all applies in life. Yes, that's great. Your mentor is great on that.
I've almost kind of identified that feeling of fear and hesitation as a signal, as like a KPI of I need to do that very thing that I'm feeling hesitation toward. Right now, there's obviously limitations to that. Use common sense. Like you're not going to jump off a bridge, right? Like that's different. But like when it comes to public speaking or interviews or maybe building up enough courage to ask someone out, like that fear, there's something behind that, and every time consistently there's a pattern that if you push through and you do that exact thing that you fear and that you're kind of inclined not to do, there's usually success. There's usually a multiplier effect on the outcome of that. And so you actually kind of start fearing that hesitation less, and you almost recognize it as a pattern throughout life of like, no, I'm actually, whatever my thoughts are, whatever that small voice is in my head is of not to do it, or I can't do it, or I'm just, not ready. If you just do it anyway and bite the bullet, you're actually going to find out that, there's going to be opportunities and doors that open up and relationships that cultivate, kind of like this podcast.
Absolutely. I love it.
And so it's almost, I would urge the listeners out there, like if you ever do come across these moments where you are kind of frozen by fear or hesitation, like lean into that, explore that, and do some self-reflecting and figure out, where is that coming from? Is that fear coming from a narrative, a false narrative that someone has told you years ago that you just kind of assumed was true? Okay, well, let's peel back that layer of a false narrative, and maybe you start to see yourself in a different light, and your perspective and self-confidence opens up. Like there's a lot of false narratives that we go through because either we put too much weight on other people's opinions, parents, grandparents, family members, friends, but we need to ask ourselves, like, what's our true identity? What's our true potential? What do we want out of life? And then really unapologetically pursue those and lean into the fear, lean into failing forward.
It's great life lessons for sure.
Well, Bill, I know you're running a business. I'll let you get back to it. I can't thank you enough for your time. This has been great. For all the listeners out there, Bill has opened up an offer, 10% off of any cigar selections with the mention of Local Roots podcast. So if you guys are looking for a family-owned business, a homegrown business here in Tomball that supports the community, supports local vendors, and is family-oriented, faith-based business right off of Main Street in downtown Tomball, Texas, y'all have got to check them out. They're absolutely amazing. Mention Local Roots to get a 10% discount and come out, be a member, get connected, network, and fail forward. Thanks,
Look
Bill.
forward to meeting y'all.